Good morning everybody, how is it going? Today we're taking a look at the game between DooWoop and DileCom for the Starladder I-League Star Series Season 3. That's a great name. Very long, very complicated. Anyway, I have never heard of these teams. I don't recognize any of the players on these teams. The reason why we're casting this game is because I wanted to cast a game. Because I kind of, I want to get back into that. I haven't done it in a little while and all of that. You guys know this is something that I'm somewhat passionate about. But I want to do some more casts again. And this is really the only up-to-date game I could find. So, yeah, that's kind of it. And I would like to keep up a little bit more with the competitive scene. Kind of see what people like to pick, how they like to play heroes and such. I always think that's very helpful. And also, if I'm casting, I can kind of deceive myself that I'm doing work and don't have to do the laundry. Which I do have to do the laundry, I just don't really want to do it. So that's also part, or actually kind of like the main reason why this is happening. Let's just get into it, right? Let's just do that. So Darkseid and Shadow Demon banned, as well as Starladder and Ogre Magi. Nothing crazy there. They're all really good heroes. The thing about Darkseid, if you pick a Darkseid, it shuts down a lot of possible picks from the other side, like for the other side. It's just kind of a problematic hero in a lot of ways, And not only is he great at shutting down a lot of heroes just from the very beginning, completely stopping the enemy team from picking them, but also he's just good at any stage of the game. Late game you got the wall, the vacuum is always going to be relevant, so is the surge. The Iron Shell stays powerful too. I mean, it just deals a lot of damage. But anyway, we got the Earth Spirit coming out, as well as the Ember Spirit in response. Now we just need the Storm Spirit to complete the trio. Although, I would be surprised. Storm Spirit hasn't really been hugely popular in a while. Underlord coming out as well, and Timbersaw for the Dire here. Now, Timbersaw, of course, great against Underlord. Underlord also likes to get some golden experience, Maybe it's going to be an offline. Could be a support. Again, I'm not like super up to date with the competitive scenes. I'm not sure what is the more popular strategy right now, but I expect him to take a little bit of farm, maybe an offlaner. Alright, and Timbersaw would track him. Like, Timbersaw just runs over an Underlord. It's not even pretty. You spam Q on a guy and then he's dead. It's kind of a problem, A little bit silly like that. Ember Spirit, of course, recently gotten a huge spike in popularity because he has that new item build available to him. Ember Spirit for first when he got introduced into Dota, he was very popular because he was just really good. Right, very, very powerful. He got nerfed a little bit, and we had some shifts in the meta and such, and new items and new heroes got introduced, and then Ember Spirit just kind of fell off the face of the earth in 6.88. He wasn't really seen much, he wasn't really that relevant. And then with 7.0 they introduced the talents, and the talents give Ember Spirit a huge boost, because now at level 10 he can get plus 15% spell damage. 15% spell damage is significant. Very, very significant. Not only that, but they also made his Fire Remnant deal more damage, right? So at level 2 now, you can actually deal 600 damage with this thing by just putting down all 3 remnants and just boosting people down. Now, 600 damage, you add another 15% on top of that, right? That's 30 per remnant, another 100, right? Another 90. We have 690 damage. 69. But we have 690 damage, and then you add, and then you have all of his other spells, and he comes in with the Veil of Discord, and it's just a lot of magic. It's just a lot of magic damage, and it's kind of scary. And then, of course, he can also transition into the late game by either continuing with that kind of route, going for a Maelstrom or something like that. Or you just say fuck it and go for the classical Ember Spirit, Ember Spirit is still scary late game just by clicking Slide of Fist a lot, that's still something that's going to be relevant. But anyway, Weaver coming out, Rubik coming out. As per bans, we got a Luna, Lone Druid, and Ursa, and an Outworld Devour. Lone Druid actually in kind of a similar spot to the Ember Spirit. Wasn't really picked up that much. And then with 7.0, he now has insane talents. Lone Druid probably has the best talents in the entire game. And as such, he has kind of gotten a new style. You actually play him as the ranged form. You only use the melee form to activate the roar, you know, the battle cry, and you just pound into people, deal a lot of damage. So yeah, anyway, Ursa coming out as well. That's just a scary hero. You know, Ursa is just one of those guys that's always a bit of a problem. Totally understand wanting to ban him. Right, bit odd. Gotta admit, unless DooWoop has something specific in mind, right? We'll see what their last pick is here, right? Like, maybe they want to play a hero that really struggles against Ursa, like a Sven, for example, a Lifestealer, right? So then that would make sense. But we'll have to wait and see. A Lifestealer I wouldn't even be surprised by. I mean, you got the Spirit Breaker for, you know, like the... Oh, Lifestealer actually being banned out. There we go, yeah. So, see, Lifestealer made sense there, right? Anyway, okay, never mind about the Lifestealer then. But Weaver, Chen, Rubik, Spirit Breaker. Rubik, really, really strong hero. Weaver, also very powerful. Probably actually gonna be some sort of offlane mid. Weaver, mid. Safe lane. Juggernaut could go mid. Juggernaut mid, Weaver safe lane, and Timbersaw offlane. I don't know, a little bit odd. Weaver has also been popular recently with the Aghanims build, actually. You know, people build Aghanims on Weaver, and it's, you know, pretty good, actually, funnily enough. It's actually pretty damn powerful. Which I find it kind of cute, because when Aghanims on Weaver was first introduced, people were like, why would I ever buy Aghanims on Weaver? I mean, this is a strong effect, but I'm not gonna buy Aghanims for, oh shit, this effect is broken. Alright, we're buying an Aghanims now. That's just the thing we're gonna be doing now. Juggernaut coming out as well as the Slark. I like the Slark a lot against Juggernaut. Of course, Juggernaut has difficulty dealing with him. You know, Slark steals your damage, so you won't really ever win just a straight up encounter, right? Straight up confrontation. He's not a good target for the ultimate, because then Slark pops his ultimate, and you know, then there goes that entire situation. A little bit tricky like that. At the same time, one of the big things that, okay, let's go and skip through this pause. One of the big things Juggernaut has going for him is, you know, his early fighting, early pushing potential. And he's actually a little bit faster than a Weaver, I think. Not a Weaver, a Slark. Man, I always confuse Starladder and Slark. But, yeah, he's actually a little bit faster. A little bit faster than a Slark. And I'm not sure why that Ember Spirit is floating. Is anybody else floating? No, he isn't. No. No. It's just the Ember Spirit. Ember Spirit has decided he is not gonna be in the same realm as us horrible mortals anymore. And instead, he's gonna be floating in the air. Oh, there's Snake King. I actually remember him. That guy is Hon trash. And what I mean with that is just he used to play Hon on a competitive level. I remember him. Now, I don't recognize him in a Dota context. I do only recognize him in the context of Heroes of New Earth. So, you know, we'll see how he performs here. But it is going to be that offlane Underlord, Ember Spirit, taking the mid, kind of as expected. Barathum gonna be roaming. We've got the Slark in the safe lane, and then the Rubik gonna be supporting. Rubik played by WFOE. William Dafoe? We'll call him William Dafoe. We'll call him William. We've got Yavar. We've got Snake King, of course, and then 747 and Biryu. Biryu currently charging in on the Timber, so here manages to steal the bounty, which is pretty neat, actually. That's kind of important. In the meantime, we got the Earth Spirit stealing the bottom bounty here. Kind of waiting to scout out what's going on. And actually, Underlord gonna be taking the safe lane here, and we've got Slark going into the off lane. Now, this, I think, is pretty common these days, actually. You know, the safe lane, off lane situation isn't as straightforward as it used to be. Right, and you can actually see that both teams are putting their safe laner into the off lane. Like, that should tell you how much I've been watching competitive Dota recently. So I wonder if this is actually standard, right? Like, feel free to let me know. I don't want to comment too much on it, because it does make sense to some extent. To different extents, it also doesn't, right? I think there's arguments to be made into for either side here. This could just be a situation where both teams are dodging, you know, a certain matchup. Well, it's mostly the Underlord trying to dodge the Timbersaw here. Alright, but maybe this is meta now, right? Maybe this is meta now. Please feel free to let me know. Again, I've been a little bit, yeah, I haven't really had a chance to watch that much competitive Dota recently. Actually, I should do some more though. All right, mid lane is gonna be the Juggernaut going up against an Ember Spirit as expected, and then oh, we actually got the Earth Spirit coming in already, looking for a gank here. He's going in. Oh, he's got the slow, but honestly, this gank could possibly, maybe, nah, not really. I don't know. This is one of those where he really has to like keep pursuing for a while. They would have to get rather lucky and have some bad decisions from 747. And even in that scenario, I'm not even sure if it's worth it. Because, you know, like, you're gonna be missing out on a lot of last hits just by chasing him down for half an hour. So, yeah. Anyway, on the other side, we got the Timbersaw at the top lane, played by Sword. We got Jay going up against Burial right there in the jungle. The Spirit kind of trading hits with the Barathum. Actually, up at the top, we got the Slark taking a little bit of damage. But, you know, they're starting to burn the Timbersaw out of mana. And once that guy's out, we're looking pretty healthy. 747 hasting into the bottom here. He wants to go for Van on the Viva. Is gonna run in, looks for the burn. He does get the burn. He's dealing a lot of... Oh, nice. That was very well done. That was very, very well done. Actually, I want to kind of skip back and go into the point of view of the Ember Spirit here. I just want to see how well done it, because I think that was... Ah, okay. He has vision there, and then he loses it. And then... actually, you know what? You know what? I guess he had vision for most of that. No, that's not to take away from him, because that was still really nice, and he manages to catch the Weaver. Now the Weaver actually made a pretty, I don't know, this is a mistake that I feel like worse players don't make. You know, this is one of those situations where a player that is, you know, like, let's say 1k would actually maybe have had a more realistic chance at escape, which is just run straight to the tower. You know, if you run straight to the tower, you might actually get out of there just by virtue of having enough movement speed. In the meantime, up at the top, the Timbersaw gets caught off guard. Barathum charges him down really quick. So, quick kill right there, Timbersaw picked off. But honestly, that's just a matter of time. As tanky as Timbersaw is, Slark, Rubik, they do actually have a decent amount of magic damage. Right, they definitely do, and Slark, of course, has the Essence Shift, which means that even though, yes, you build up armor every time you hit, that is actually reduced a little bit, and, you know, also the Slark starts dealing more damage and becomes more powerful. It's just kind of like a snowballing situation, right? Oh, we got the dash forward from Jay. He pushes 747 away from the spin. It should still be enough to kill the Ember Spirit, though. They get that one pretty quick. Yeah. It's a rather easy pick-off. Now, one thing about the Ember Spirit, of course, once Ember Spirit hits level 6 here, it's gonna be a lot more difficult to kill him. Where he gets the Fire Remnant, he can always Remnant out, basically escape anything. And that's something that I'm fairly certain DileCom, is that the name? DileCom, what does that even mean? Alright, I'm fairly, also, do they have like, how many stand-ins do they have? They have like, do they have 4 yeah, they have 4 stand-ins, alright. Alright, DileCom. I'm not sure you are allowed to even call it stand-ins at that point. I feel like that's just a new team. Alright, never mind then. It could also just be, you know, some weird naming thing. In the meantime, at the top lane, we got another kill. Yeah, they're gonna keep catching him. I'm actually more interested at in this bottom situation here, because the Underlord is hiding. And the Weaver's really low on HP. So that's kind of a problem, you know. Barathum charging in. I'm not sure if DileCom knows that the Underlord is here at all. Doesn't seem like it. So the charge is incoming. They scan out here. It seems like they are aware the Underlord is in this area. Oh, okay. They catch the Weaver. The charge is interrupted though, and now this is looking bad. The Earth Spirit. Oh. He misses the ball. Burial now going into the jungle here. The Bucks connect now. That's going to be enough for a quick and easy kill. Snaking. He's still kind of snaking around. Get it? Get it? He's still kind of sneaking around. Of course, very tanky. Manages to get a bit of damage done, but he's out of mana now. Of course, he has the Mango, but it's not going to be enough down goes the Underlord. They throw up the Weaver. Rubik is here now, and so is the Slark. They actually connect with the leap on the Weaver. Weaver is going to be shackled to the ground for a little while, but he manages to escape out. No! The link! The attack from the Rubik secures the kill right there, and they get another one. Down goes the Chen. Pretty straightforward kill from the Rubik. You know, he gets the Fate Ball bounce. That was unexpected, honestly. I didn't think that was gonna bounce through the trees like that, but I suppose they still had vision, you know. Maybe the Barathum was charging again. You know, that could definitely help. Top lane, we now got the Underlord going up against the Timbersaw. And of course, this is kind of the problematic matchup. You can see that Snake King is actually gonna use his ultimate right there to try and escape out. And he will be fine, but of course now Dark Rift is on cooldown. Now, it's not really that big of a deal, because at this point in the game, I don't think Dark Rift is gonna get that much value. Right, so denying the Timbersaw a kill right there is probably the best you can do with it. But you can see, Underlord went into that top lane for what, 30 seconds, and he was already just done. He had to leave, had to escape by all means possible. So, yeah, it's just a problem. Alright, and we got a big push coming at the bottom, you know. The Chen is here with his army, you know. Earth Spirit setting up as well. Weaver just sitting on the front lines, taking it easy, you know. He's got his ultimate, he's ready. He's not really too worried about anything that could happen. And it's just gonna sneak about a little bit. You know, playing it safe for the time being. Underlord putting down the Firestorm again, soon to be level 7. Which is nice, you know, getting the last level into your main source of damage is quite valuable. And Spirit Breaker now also at the bottom. You know, this bottom lane is like kind of ramping up into a big fight here. Oh, the double damage on the Juggernaut. He doesn't have, no, he does have enough mana for an Omni Slash. He's definitely looking for it. He's definitely looking for it. The entire Dire side is looking for some kills. They're not gonna get it, but you know what, they're gonna be happy with just the tower. So the push at the bottom is gonna be able to secure the tier 1. Up at the top, we got Barrier fighting it out with the Timbersaw. Timbersaw actually not turning it around though. Well, I suppose he maxed out the reactive armor, so he doesn't really have a huge amount of damage output. Now his mobility is also quite limited, so it's understandable that he wouldn't want to go in too deep right now, you know, rather just continue farming. Although, that is a tasty opportunity in the Spirit Breaker, you know. That guy was pretty low, and of course Timbersaw has a very easy time chopping up those fools. Slark in the meantime, he's got himself some treads. Juggernaut is out farming him just a little bit in terms of net worth, you know, 500 gold. Yeah, of course the Slark has more last hits, right? But actually, Juggernaut has less kills as well. I guess it's just tower gold. A little bit crazy that the Slark has less money right there, honestly. But he does. Alright. Timbersaw being caught out right there. We got the Shackles. Ember Spirit now at the top lane trying to burn him down. We got the Slark coming in as well. Barrier dropping very, very low. He needs to try and escape himself out of there. And actually, he is gonna go down to the Timbersaw. Weaver's now also around. He connects with the Bucks on the Ember Spirit. Relocates back, and it seems like Ember Spirit... Oh, wow! Ember Spirit just barely survives. So does the Slark. Time-lapse. It's not relocate. Time-lapse. Gotta get those names back into my head. Yeah, it's been a while since I cast the game, so... You know, I don't have all of these, like... I don't have all of these... all of the terminology in my head anymore. It's just a matter of practice, but we gotta get back into it. We gotta get back into it. Weaver skipping out on boots, by the way. I hate that build. Terrible. You know, like this always happens. Like, you know, it's I don't know, not always, but it happens very frequently where a player is like, nah, man, I'm Weaver. I'm like him. I don't need boots. And then they skip out on boots for like the majority of the game, and what then happens is that they die because they don't have boots. At least once. Usually multiple times. And then they buy boots. And it's just like, could have just You could have just bought boots. They're not that expensive, you know. They know you gotta be fancy, right? So it's gonna go out and finish up his Dragon Lance first. Dude, if I have enough range and I have already the Shikuchi, you know, I got maximum movement speed anyway, I don't need boots. You know, like that kind of scenario, it's just nonsense. You need boots. Go buy some boots, right? Mid tower being pushed down here. They got the healing ward, they got the gen creeps, they got everything. Down it goes. Very straightforward. Meantime, Slark's just kind of farming the jungle. He's almost got his Shadow Blade. Shadow Blade, I think, is just pretty standard these days. People don't really go for Blink Dagger anymore, which is a shame. I still like the Blink Dagger, but it's honestly just a little bit, I don't know. I wouldn't even say it's too slow. It's just, it doesn't give you enough fighting power, right? And you gotta be able to fight. That seems more valuable. Alright, the Slark is gonna be fine. He's just gonna activate his ultimate for safety. Thinking about using the shrine. Gonna trigger it. Ember Spirit also around. Ember Spirit is almost level 15. No, not level 15. Level 10. So he gets the 15. That's where the 15 came from. Yeah, he gets a 15% spell up, which is pretty sick, right? That's when your damage really starts taking off. He's also, of course, going for the Bait of Discord right away. Just kind of rushing that. Yeah, it's just to maximize your damage, you know. That's the whole idea there. You want to deal magic damage. They got the root on the Timber Sword. Actually gonna lift them up. Yeah, no, that should be enough. That should be enough. They'll be able to get that kill. Gotta use one Fire Remnant for that, but hey, that's what they're for, right? And now we got the 15% ready. Only a little bit more until we have the Weight of Discord, and then Ember Spirit is gonna start really hurting. Like, it's a serious amount of damage. It's very, very powerful. And well, actually at level 12, I think, is when he peaks with this build. You know, that's when he is at his scariest. You know, you have your Searing Chains maxed out. You got the Cash Upon in the Sleight of Fist just to make sure you actually get the Searing Chains. You got the level 2 of the Fire Remnant, which is a significant upgrade now. So yeah, Ember Spirit is gonna turn into a problem soon. Seems like DileCom is trying to end the game before that, though. They are continuing with their relentless assault at the bottom lane this time. Gonna continue pushing here. Of course, with the Chen, you're kind of forced into that, you know, mentality. You kind of have to always keep going in. And as such, the Chen is a little bit of an all-in character. Right, like, he really wants to just keep pushing and keep going. Late game, of course, he now has a little bit more than he used to have. He of course has the ancient creeps that he can dominate, but frankly, that's not really enough. You know, late game, he's still pretty weak. So, Snake King gonna be caught out right here. Not much he can do. Just goes down, a quick pick off. Pretty simple kill. It seems like the Radiant side is not really too interested in this, though. They're just gonna keep pushing their own lanes. You know, you got the Slark going at the top. Now he's gonna apply pressure on the tier 2 there. Got a little bit of, you know, a defense teleporting in now in the Juggernaut in the meantime. Mid, the tower, gonna be assaulted by the Barathum, who also just barely manages to escape. Actually, I guess he isn't quite out. Yeah, he's good. He's fine. Barathum just barely manages to escape. Bottom. The tier 2 ends up going down. But actually, up at the top now, we got the Omni Slash coming out. Juggernaut trying to maybe turn this around. They're gonna lose the Spirit Breaker, but they get the double root. Ember Spirit gonna have to use his Remnant defensively, though. And now tries to teleport out. He's gonna be able to do so just fine, but still not the best situation. Now Slark, this is actually interesting. He could be able to do it. Oh, no. No. He needed to be a lot quicker about that. He waited a little bit with his jump, and so the Weaver had time to react. You can make that unreactable, right? And then you just need to position yourself properly. So a little bit unfortunate there. But Weaver ends up escaping. It's fine, though, because, you know, the Slark is still kind of just a loose cannon, you know? He gets to do whatever he wants. while the Dire is trying to interrupt him a little bit, they aren't really succeeding. And that's a bit of a problem now. You know, he's got a Shadow Blade, he's continuing to farm, and he's still keeping up with the Juggernaut, you know. Ahead of the Weaver. Oh, nice. They catch out one. Slark now going in on the second. The Earth Spirit throws out the stun and connects on the main carry here. Forced to activate his ultimate, but he's still doing fine. He's actually looking pretty healthy. Now he's going to be forced to leap out. Snaking activates the teleport back, and he should be able to get the Ember Spirit out of there. So it's a 1-for-1. The Barathroom for the Chen. I suppose that's an alright trade, actually. Not only did they trade 1-for-1, but it seems like they managed to get rid of most, if not all, of the minions from the Chen. It seems like all of them, actually, yeah. He doesn't really have any summons left. So they killed all of the summons there, which actually deters the push, and that's all they're looking to do. Right? I feel like that fight right there was actually a win for the Radiant. The Radiant is definitely playing for the late game. They do have that Slark. The Slark, yeah, he might struggle a little bit against the Weaver, but I still give him the edge. You know, I feel like while Weaver is a bit tricky to go up against, Slark can just buy silence. You know, Orchid is a pretty popular item on the guy anyway. So you just get yourself the Orchid, and then you just silence the Weaver, and then he dies. Because that's what Weaver does if he gets silenced, right? And other than that, late game, this guy's going to be able to beat up basically anything. So that's kind of a problem. Interesting, he went for the 15 damage over the 10% lifesteal. Okay. You would think the lifesteal is nicer, but I guess a Slark doesn't really have too much need for it. Alright, going in on the Juggernaut. Spin, of course, keeps him safe, and seems like Burial subscribes to the mentality of the true Barathroom, which is to never, ever, ever cancel a charge. They're gonna go in on the Chen. Chen casts his heal, though. Still not gonna be enough, and down he goes. Weaver going in with that Desolator, but rooted into place. He gets the Rubik. Time lapse is back. He's still looking fine. Barathroom now going down. It's now just the Ember Spirit in the middle of the fight, taking a lot of hits. Weaver should be able to secure that kill. Actually, it's gonna be the Juggernaut. You got Yavar running around the place looking for more. They get the double root, and Weaver goes down. That's the main carry dead. Yavar still looking for more. He's actually taking a lot of damage. Going to be chopped up by the Timbersaw. The double damage from the Juggernaut turned out a little bit too much to handle for the Radiant side here. And seems like Trash Tan King is now going to go ahead and secure Roshan. Although Snaking is here. He gets the root. He gets the Firestorm as well. Now, this is actually significant damage. That's actually quite scary, but Roshan should still go down to the Dire here, and they managed to get the edges. Juggernaut picks it up. Barathroom goes down yet again. There just seems to be a pattern here where the Spirit Breaker keeps dying. Is 0 and 7 right now. I mean, he's been involved in almost all of his team's kills, all but one. But still a lot of deaths on the guy, you know. Yeah, well, actually finds the Chen here. I should be able to just kill him. Yeah, I mean, that's just the power of the Slark, you know. And this is just kind of a problem we're going to have this game. The Slark simply has the ability to kill anybody on the Dire side on his own, except for the Weaver. That's just it, but he can just go in and hit them. Right, and maybe he cannot kill them entirely, but he can definitely do a lot of damage. Enough damage to force them to retreat. And as such, you're still always under pressure. And you're always under pressure. You always have to worry. And actually there's a Weaver. They find him with the charge and it's a kill. You know, like this is exactly what I mean. This constant pressure, this constant fear that the Dire now has to deal with is a problem. Definitely a problem. So, Slark now level 15. Goes for the 15 agility talent, which seems perfectly reasonable. You know, honestly, I feel like that talent is definitely something worth skipping the Essence Shift for. It's essentially 5 Essence Shift charges, you know, like just at the old times. Here you go, have 15 more agility. That's pretty good. Now, it is actually quite powerful. And there we go, we got the Oblivion stuff now ready. Seems like he is currently planning on going for that Echo Saber. Honestly, I'm not a big fan would rather see the Orchid. You know, I think the Orchid is just immensely powerful this game. Against the Timbersaw, against the Weaver, even against the Earth Spirit, you know. And actually talking about Earth Spirit, he's gonna be caught in the mid lane, goes down. Quick pickoff. An item I would love to see this game as well is the Blink Dagger on the Ember Spirit. Seems he's actually going for Radiance here. So he just really wants to maximize that magical damage output, you know. Use the 15% spell amplification to its fullest. Feel like, look, I like the build up to this point. I think this is perfectly reasonable. It's just the Radiance, I think, is a little bit over the top. You know, that's just people being very enthusiastic about this new build, I feel. Oh, Snaking, gonna try to teleport out. He's taking a lot of damage, but he's just too tanky and he gets his team out of there. Yeah, that's just the power of the Underlord, you know. And Underlord has sneakily been farming up this game. Got quite a bit of items, funnily enough. Look at this guy. He's actually the 4th highest farmer in the game, beating everybody on the dire side except for the Juggernaut. Now, of course, Underlord has great farming tools. I mean, that's the thing you need to keep in mind, right? His Q is amazing. Yavar catches the Chen yet again, always making sure that guy doesn't get to do anything. Beautiful targeting. Timbersaw goes down. Yeah, Jay won't be able to do much. He gets a little bit of damage done, but of course that holds no real significance. And down goes the Earth Spirit. Underlord is getting big. And that's kind of a problem, honestly. You know, this guy is starting to get quite scary. He also got 10% spell amplification at level 15. But nobody goes for Radiance on that guy. Nah. I don't know, I just think a Blink Dagger would be so much more useful, you know. Blink Dagger on Ember Spirit is so beautiful. So beautiful. Alright. Yavar going in. Just kind of being a little bit annoying, you know. Actually, there is a sentry down, but it's a Slark. What are you gonna do? He does pick up that Echo Saber. No, I'm not saying Echo Saber's bad, right? I expect him to actually go for an Orchid at some point anyway. It just would have been nice to see an Orchid sooner rather than later. Alright, but I find Echo Saber to be perfectly reasonable. Honestly, he does need some additional HP. Right, he doesn't really have too much. Activates the invisibility there, and it's just gonna TP out using it. Very nice play. Very smart. Omni Slash, in the meantime, goes on a Barathum who felt like dying again, I suppose. Just kind of wanted to go down. Blink Dagger as well as the Manta Star ready on the Juggernaut. We've got a Weaver who's still refusing to buy boots. Absolutely refusing to buy boots. It seems actually he now considers picking them up at 24 minutes. Dude, if you didn't buy them for 24 minutes, you might as well just skip them entirely. Dude, like at this point you're in too deep. You're in too deep. Stick with your decision, show some balls, you know? Alright, Desolator going in on the mid tower though. You know, that's very powerful. Earth Spirit just kind of sitting on some supporting stuff. He almost got a Hand of Midas, so that's kind of neat. Timbersaw, he's got himself a Bloodstar, he's got a Hood of Defiance, and is currently fighting it out with Snaking, who simply said just does not give a fuck. Like, the Underlord just does not care about anything. He is pushing, and he's gonna keep pushing, and you can't stop him from pushing. Because how? This man is unkillable. Absolutely unkillable. He's got, what, 22 armor. He's got a Pipe of Insight. He's got damage block. 2000 HP. How are you gonna get through that? You know, this guy is just not gonna go down. It's just not gonna drop. Ember Spirit, I believe, has his Radiance now. Yeah, so of course the Radiance damage gets amplified by the spell damage amplification. Of course you can also use the Veil of Discord for a little bit more there. And one of the big advantages with Ember Spirit, if you use the Sleight of Fist, then you are next to enemies, which counts for the Radiance, right? So you can definitely kind of buy a little bit of time with that, get a few ticks in, but I don't know, it just seems very dedicated to dealing a lot of damage that isn't really like super needed. Alright. Nah. Alright. You know what? Maybe it's gonna work out. Maybe it's gonna work out. I don't wanna talk shit. And the Chen has got nothing. That's actually very unfortunate. Yeah, I guess that's why... And that's why he's such easy food for the Slark here. Or could be that he's got nothing because he was always easy food for a Slark because he's Chen. Kind of a problem like that, you know, he just gets caught out. But yeah, that fella sadly doesn't really have any items. In the meantime, Earth Spirit's gonna get caught out. Yet again, just gonna go down really quick. Slark got 10 Essence Shift stacks from that. Now, almost level 18. Has the level 3 ultimate ready. And, yeah, bottom tower gonna be pushed here. Bottom tower gonna be pushed here. And honestly, this game is looking pretty bad for the Dire at this point. It just doesn't really seem like they can fight that well, you know? Slark is too powerful. They gave him too much time to farm. I mean, they tried to shut him down, it's just not that easy, you know? Ember's Bird now also starting to deal a lot of damage, and anytime they try to fight, that happens. You know, like that entire situation is just diffused and disengaged. Snaking can't put an end to a fight before the fight begins at all. And that's kind of a problem. He's now got his Crimson Guard, allowing his team to be even more tanky. And maybe that's the mentality of the Ember's Bird. You know what? We got a Crimson Guard, we got a Mecha, we got a Pipe, we got like all of the defensive items in the game. Like everything. Then I can just go for damage, you know? Like I don't need to survive. I don't really need mobility. Because I can just run in because we're so incredibly tanky. You know, I got my team backing me up. And why not? Let's just deal some damage, right? And you can see he does deal a lot of damage. Like burning down this Juggernaut. Oh, nice. Dodges the stun, and that was crucial. Manages to escape out at the last second. Juggernaut, a little bit unlucky right there. Not getting a bash. That certainly could have helped. But, you know, sometimes RNGesus just isn't in your favor. We were still refusing to get boots. I'm not... I don't know, man. Okay, you know what? You do you. Alright, you refuse to get boots. Look, I don't even need him to get, like, treads. Just get brown boots, if you don't want to upgrade them. But brown boots are so cheap, and they do so much. I promise you. I absolutely promise you. And no, you don't need a Wraith Band more than you need brown boots. You really don't. So, yeah, alright. Timbersaw caught out, actually. Taking a lot of damage, but it should be fine. You know, he's tanky. So Yavar is just gonna be happy. We got the Barathum charging in too. They're gonna go in for the Timbersaw. Timbersaw goes up into the air with the Yules. Earth Spirit gonna be picked off. Sword, Timber chains himself out. He's gonna be fine for the time being, but now burned down by the Ember Spirit. Ember Spirit, however, is gonna be chased away by the Juggernaut. Juggernaut, now man, fighting with the Slark, but it's just not enough. He gets bashed up. Dropping low, picked off. Got the Weaver trying to turn it around, but Sword, even with the Shrine heal, she's just not able to tank this much damage. And Underlord yet again diffuses the situation, gets his team out of there. Rubik, the only one left behind, but of course, he's got plenty of mobility. He's got the Force Staff, he's got the Shikuchi, he's gonna be just fine. And okay, got a little bit lucky with the Shikuchi there, that thing just here went out. Ooh, a little bit scary. Alright, Yavar gonna be pushing. He's got 34 Essence Shift stacks. Got the Root on the Chen, taking a lot of damage. Yeah, Ember Spirit also coming in with the Radiance. You know, now I think about Radiance, I don't like. I don't like Radiance without Manta. Really think you gotta get Manta there. Alright, Earth Spirit gonna be going down. Ember Spirit goes for the Chen. Chen is dead. Sword on the retreat. Doesn't matter. GG's called. Yeah, that escalated pretty quickly. The Slark just became too powerful. This is exactly... This is a prime example of a game where it's just like, oh, there was a Slark and you let him farm. Well, then you die. That is what happens. You die. If you let a Slark farm, you lose the video game. That's what happened. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I know I'm a little bit rusty. Give me a little bit until I get back into shape. Please give me an update on like the meta game as much as possible. Although I'm gonna go watch some competitive Dota right now while I work a little bit on Angel Arena. Yeah, I guess I could actually give you an update. So I recorded this video today on the day that I'm uploading it. Today, on the day that I'm uploading this video, we're gonna have a town hall meeting, which is essentially just all of the teams coming together and everybody telling us what they have been up to and such. And I should be able to actually, you know, like, get a lot of work done for that, like, in regards to that. But I want to prepare for it, so that's what I'm gonna do for the next 2 hours. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed the video. I'll see you tomorrow. Goodbye.